Hey, this is Brian, and we'll get started in just a minute. Hey, this is Brian, and today we're going to talk about the four immutable laws of client acquisition and how you can clarify your sales message so you can predictably create new clients. And I'm Brian Ryder, and we specialize in helping businesses create these repeatable sales processes so they have freedom in their business. And I've traveled all over the world getting to do this. And before I make any promises or talk about what we're going to go over, I think this is really important that there was just a study done by Adobe, and they found out that 91% of businesses were guessing on their marketing and guessing on their sales process. So if you think about that 9 out of 10 people on this presentation are guessing on their sales process, and probably more than that. So 91% of people aren't quite sure exactly what they need to do to grow their business, and that's a little bit frightening. Though I'm going to make a promise to you that if you can build a simple, repeatable sales process in less than 90 days without having to master internet marketing. There's four simple steps that you got to follow. Though the biggest thing is you have to do it right. So who is this for? This is for business owners who are tired of guessing at business and want a proven system to grow. If you've went out there and you've tried a bunch of different steps, or maybe you've tried building a sales funnel, maybe you've tried different things, though it hasn't worked. I'm going to show you exactly why it hasn't worked, and what you can do to really get the clarity on the process. And it's also for people who want to know exactly why their prospects buy for them. They want to know what are the triggers that get people to take action and move forward in the transaction, and they want to really clarify these so they can train themselves and also train their staff so they can have repeatable sales process. So what we're going to cover the four immutable laws of sales. And it's really these four laws are a simple four-step process that will help you create this predictable sales. Now, we're also going to go over how you must think to master the steps, because if you don't think right and you don't get the right process, you're going to run into trouble. And we're going to really go over why most failures have to do with the wrong thinking. And we're also going to go over our framework that we filter each one of our messages through that, and we have a success rate 2,000% better than the industry average on creating results. And all this goes to show is you can really have what you're looking for. You just have to do it right. And where the misstep, when we get down to it, is where the missteps happen is you get a few small details wrong. And before we really go off and talk about this, I just want to share this quick case study, just so you know I'm not making this stuff up. I'm not just talking about hoping and praying and learning from a book. I actually do this, and our team does this in the real world.
Hey Brian, it's Jonathan. How you doing? Oh my gosh. I just wanted to say thank you. I just got back from a trip in Cabo, and it would not have happened if it wasn't for you. And the reason for that is we've been working together for about a year, give or take, and I've failed with a number of marketers in launching my real estate coaching program. And gosh, it seems like I was just trying all kinds of stuff, wasting all kinds of money, wasting all kinds of time, just chasing strategies, systems, procedures that just didn't work. And basically, we've been working together now for about a year. And during that year time, I mean, we started at zero, right? I mean, we're talking zero in revenue. And just in December, what was that, a month ago? Probably 9 or 10 months into it, we had a month where it was about 126,000 of revenue. So yay, thank you very, very much. And the cool part about this too is that I'm working with just really cool people that I like to help. I love helping realtors break through to the next level, and just working with people that want to do the work, and they're committed to doing the work. So I just really appreciate you. You're finding people that appreciate me, and I'd say my goals for the next year coming up, well, you know these, is really want to be doing a little over 1.2 million in profit. So that means, I don't even know what that means revenue wise. I'm sure you got that figured out, but 1.2 million in profit. And I just want to say thank you. And oh my gosh, if you guys are considering working with Brian, um, if you want results, work with Brian. If you want to tinker and you want to take some of the stuff he's doing and do Mr. Potato Head and piece it all together, um, that's what I did, right? I hired 7 different marketers and was playing Mr. Potato Head. The moment I hired Brian and we got really serious and I listened to what Brian said and just let him do his stuff, that's when the breakthroughs happened for me. So anyway, thanks, Brian. I really appreciate it. Have a great day, and appreciate all that you're doing for me, so that I in turn can help others. So thanks. See ya. Bye.
All right, so it was a great testimonial. And so I want to get into a couple common questions or complaints that people have, and we'll just get these out of the way. So, one of the common questions is what causes people to buy? And, this is a great thing. And I'm going to cover this in posts 3 and 4, in parts 3 and 4, because you need the context of the webinar to make sense. I would tell you right now, though, you're going to, after step 1 and step 2, it's really going to make sense of why people buy. Though this is what has to get out of the way first. So it's not that I'm trying to avoid this. It's I need you to give you context on step 1, step 2, because those are the most important part of the client acquisition process. So I wanted to share this too. Is as we're going through this and Jeff Bezos said this, is what we need to do is always lean into the future when the world changes around you and when it changes against you. What used to be a tailwind is now a headwind. You have to lean into that and figure out what to do, because complaining isn't a strategy. And there's just so much complaining going on there, and people are struggling, and it's challenging. Though all they need to do is just kind of lean into the future, because these steps are really the future of marketing. So another common question is, hey, Brian, I've tried and tried and tried and failed. What makes this different? And the question I always ask them to really understand what's going on is, describe your sales process from meeting a prospect to signing them as a client. And that always gets me exactly clear what's going on. And what happens is most people can't go through a process and describe it's like, hey, this is exactly what happens, or there's a breakdown somewhere along the line. Now, when you know exactly what you got to do to acquire a client, and then you just need to follow that process, it's very, very simple to make work. And really, what people find out is great questions change the game. I'm going to talk about that in point 2 as we go through the process. So another common question is, my ideal clients are in the B2B space and they aren't on Facebook, which is really, really true. Everybody's saying, hey, you can get to anybody on Facebook. Not true. The answer is this is really adaptable to any medium: LinkedIn, Google PPC, cold email me, network, you name it. I made it work in 8 countries, and I've traveled to 54 countries working on this. And so it will work in the B2B. If we talk about a Facebook ad example, or we're talking about a different example, you just adapt it to the medium. It's very, very simple to do. And another thing is, how long does it take this system? How long does this system take to get results when you're working through the four steps? So the answer is 82% of our clients see tangible sales results in less than 90 days, typically 30 to 60. And it's really all about the speed of implementation. So if you're working through it on your own, that's a variable, though typically that's kind of what we're working through. And the key thing is that they do it once and this problem goes away. So a few more notes is, when we're done tonight, I'm going to give you an invitation to explore working together with me to build a true repeatable sales process without mastering internet marketing. Though, listen, in order to actually have a successful business, whether or not you decide to work together, you have to have these three things that I'm going to talk about, and you have to have this process down, because without it, it just won't work. So here are the three musts in business. Is one, you got to be willing to push through your comfort zone. If you're not willing to push through your comfort zone, it's just never going to work. So many people talk about, okay, let's go out and get results, and then, oh, I really want this, and then really we get into this uncomfortable piece where I got to learn a new skill and I'm failing, and they don't really want to do it, and that's never going to work. Part two is, you actually got to be able to help people. This isn't some get rich quick scheme. You need to be good at what you do. If you're a service-based business owner, you got to be good, because the thing is, once you figure out sales, if you're not good at what you do, it's just going to make you fail faster. And third, you just need to commit to never letting your self-doubt stop you from having what you really want. So many entrepreneurs I've worked with, so many people, that's what gets in the way. I think we just have a crisis of self-doubt going on in the marketplace today, and you just have to not stop. You just have to not stop and keep working through it. And I want to share something. The truth is, no matter how successful you are, it happens. And I just want to share a quick story. And before I share about these 4 steps, I just want to say something about self-doubt, because it really happened to me. And I think what's important about it is, it happened to me after I was very, very successful. I was traveling the world, and I've been to all these countries, and then I just really got paralyzed by self-doubt, and I was just so insecure about my success, and I wasn't sure why I was successful or whether I deserved it. And I talked to my friends, and the more we talked, I couldn't figure out why I had created the results. And what really happened is, I got afraid to really push my business and sell. And it's really sad to say that I had went out and done this, though I just have to be 100% honest, that fear turned to me being afraid of sharing my gifts with the world. And so instead of sharing my gifts, I really just regressed back to second guessing and wondering if I had what it takes to, be successful. And I wasn't really sure. And I sat with almost a year about this, and just kind of asking, do I deserve success? More than anything, it just freaked me out and kept me from taking action. And I think that happens to a lot of people in sales, that we just get freaked out, we fail, or something happens, and that's why this system is so important. And so I just look back, and so much time was wasted, and I want to go back to that time in my life and really get clear on what my vivid future at the time was, to get clear on the choices. If I could tell myself anything, is just get really clear on the vivid future of not taking action and what happens, and just look at how I was causing my pain and frustration by not taking actions or staying in this guessing game, and it doesn't work. And that and really what was on the line was getting to create the ideal lifestyle that I wanted. So just a quick introduction of me. I'm Brian Ryder. I've owned 5 businesses over $2 million. I've traveled to 54 countries. I've worked for 2 billionaires and a prime minister and 26 heads of state. I've done some really fun things in business. And I'm a little bit low-key. I don't really like talking about myself that much. Our team has consulted with hundreds of small businesses, from startups to companies upon over $500 million. And beyond money, I've helped people achieve lifestyle and location freedom, and I've also achieved that myself. And that's what I think is really important, is when you own a business and you're able to take vacations. And these are 417 stamps on my passport. I actually just printed them out all over. One of my favorite ones in the middle, I can see it right now, is visa to China and Indonesia. And I'm kind of laughing right now because I'm going back to Indonesia. It's been about 8 years, and I'm super excited about this. So what I want to talk about a little bit too is freedom, because in business, of course we're building sales system, of course we're doing all of these, though we're really looking for one of the 4 freedoms. It's either location freedom. Hey, we want to be able to travel and work from anywhere. That's a huge freedom. Or 2, time freedom. Hey, we can work a few days a week. We can work around our schedule. We're a little bit more of a renegade, whatever we want to do. 3rd is money freedom. And, money freedom to be able to go out and do whatever it is in our life and in business. Beyond the $20,000-$30,000. I mean, that's a kind of that figure where we can stop talking about making more, or legacy, where we can just really build the type of business that creates a long-term legacy for our family and really, really, creates a mark. That's just so important. And so now a lot of people want great results in business, and a lot of people are really struggling to make it happen. And if you failed up to this point, if you haven't been able to build a predictable sales system, something I want you to know is you are not your mistakes. And a great mentor of mine told me it's like you're golfing and you have a big slice. The human error is we think that we are that big sliced golf ball, when in reality it's just something small in our swing is off. Now I'm here to help you get current on your swing and really get clear. Though here's the thing, you got to do this right, and it takes a lot of focus to do what's right, and that's where almost all business owners go wrong. And so we're talking statistically that 91% of people are guessing in their business. 91% of people are doing this wrong. Now, here's the other part is we have tons and tons of tactics. You see a billion tactics out there. I mean, we don't have to, you're sitting here watching this video, though there are tactics everywhere, Facebook ads, all of this. Now, and I think this is a really, really important quote, and to really think about. All men can see the tactics whereby I conquer, but what none can see is the strategy out of which victory is evolved. And this was from The Art of War, Sun Tzu, and that is so key, as it's the underlying strategy that makes all the difference. And we're really going to walk you through now that strategy. And some of the steps aren't exactly rocket science. They're pretty straightforward, though you just have to work through them. So here we go. Let's get going on this. So step 1, attract the lead. And yes, this is not rocket science. This is attracting leads to fuel your business. And you can do a lot of things. You can use Facebook SEO, cold calling, referrals. Though here's the thing, knowing your sources are not enough. The key in attracting the lead is entering the conversation already going on in your prospect's head and knowing what your prospect sees. And what happens is, now people talk about doing this. No one just really gets good or can actually execute it. And the key is that where people are failing is they miss the context of the conversation. So I want to share a little story. Is think about it this way. There's a large market for people who want to grow their business. It's probably 90% of business owners out there. Who doesn't want to grow their business? Of course. Some people just are like, hey, I want to hold it here. Now, in attracting the lead, I need to start thinking of the easiest person who I can help that's already having the conversation going on in their head. And so if I think about the easiest person that I can help, it's going to be a service-based business owner who is committed and they love simplicity. Well, that narrows things down to like 10% of the market, because there's a lot of business owners, and hopefully they're not on this webinar, that want 20 different flavor tactics and flying all over the place, and they're going to struggle. So this is the magic, because if once you know this, you can start speaking with them. So this is how you do it. The answer is in what your prospect sees is getting in the way of what they want. It's one of three things. So it's either an external conflict, an internal conflict, or a moral conflict keeping them from getting the results. So to get the results, what we have to go out and do is position ourselves to handle those questions that are going on in our prospects' heads. So think about this. What if each day you had a steady stream of prospects, you knew what their exact problem was and you could easily help them? When you first reach out to them and they said, hey, that's the exact problem I had, how would this change the rest of your sales process? So I kind of know that that's the one that I'm working for. And that's really what we're getting into. We're getting into, when we're attracting the lead, positioning. And that's so important in the process, because I've never met a business owner that wasn't breaking $20,000 in profit in 3 months who had passed the 5-picture test. And what's the 5-picture test here is, what you do is you put your picture next to your four biggest competitors. And does your ideal customer know why they should buy from you in 15 seconds? Because if they can't do it in 15 seconds, really like 5, though we're going to give you a little bit extra time in your positioning, you're dead in the water. And people don't think about this, like attracting the lead and the positioning and isolating it without using a ton of words. We want to think we have time to explain it, and we don't. So once we get this down, we're on to step 2, which is clarify and qualify. And when we're getting to clarifying and qualifying, and you got these leads coming in, that's step 1. Here's what you're really working on doing. So qualifying the prospect. And do they have the money? Do they want help? Are they easy for you to help now? Now, you're never going to ask those questions. It's just stupid to ask those questions unless you want to be really, really offensive and turn your prospect off. And then the next part is you're going to clarify how you can help them. And this is vitally important that it happens fast. So clarity equals attention. If you don't have attention in the sales process, you are absolutely dead in the water. You confuse them, you'll lose their attention. It's just that simple. It just is that simple. And that's why clarifying them is so important. So when we clarify and we qualify, what are we really trying to do? One, your prospect knows they're in the right room. Because if they don't know they're in the right room, if we're not speaking to them when we're clarifying how we help them, and they go, wow, I got that exact same problem, and we've had the breakdown, well, we're going to struggle. And so the other part of it is shows that you're positioned as an authority to solve their problem. And really, when you're positioned as an authority, you do that through great questions and asking the process. You don't do it from, there's tons of ways that people talk about it, and then there's a very effective model, which is demonstration. And then the prospect gains clarity on what they need to do to get results. That's the biggest thing, is when you're positioned correctly and you demonstrate this and you qualify them, you're actually just, really creating momentum in the process. So how we clarify people, because I think it's really, really important, and this is just one of our 4 businesses, how we do it. We ask 5 prospect-centered questions. and it's not about how much money you make. What it is we ask 5 questions and we get the prospect into action. And you just have to be really, really tactful with this in the Me Too economy, because everybody's doing the, hey, do you have enough money? Boom, 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 boom. That's not going to work. And what it really comes down to is telling is what everyone does. Everyone is out there telling people, hey, this is how I can help you. This is what I can do for you. Well, that's not going to work. And so what I really want you to do is imagine having a prospect who has struggled with a problem all their life, and your marketing catches your eye because it goes over their exact problem. So you get step 1 right. And then when they reach out to you, you ask some simple questions about what's going on. So instead of telling them like everyone does, you're listening. Now, listening equals control. I'm going to say it again. Listening equals control. Because when you're listening, your prospect knows, likes, and trusts you, and you're no longer a company trying to sell them something. And it's amazing when you're listening, the control you have when listening. Now, imagine if you become the trusted advisor with a very specific process to help them move life forward. Imagine that happened before you ever get into the sales process. And you were only in the sales process with people who did this because they told you as much. And what we're looking to do is create momentum in the sales process here, because everybody wants to jump to the end parts, and really this is a radical change in thinking, to not jump forward, to really do all of this before we even start thinking about trying to sell something. And you can see as everybody else teaches you to try to sell up front, and that is one of the biggest killers of sales. And so even if your sales message is great, it'll fail to get prospect to buy if you jump through steps 1 and 2. What happens is if you go back and you focus on steps 1 and 2, and you really create the message, and you qualify and clarify, and you do it right, you're going to get into step 3, and you're going to have so much momentum in step 3, which is create desire. And now, here's the deal. Creating the truth about desire is really your sales presentation. Some people do it in an in-person call, a demo, webinar, sales presentation, etc. It is all the same. And so what happens is, so done well, you're just furthering a burning desire inside the prospect to get their deep want. And this is where we talk about a lot of selling, and you're just going to show them how to get it. So I'm going to share with you, there's 2 musts that have to happen here. And I'm going to make them really, really simple, because if you don't get these 2 musts, you're dead in the water. So first one is demonstrate the gap between where the prospect is at and where they want to be. Step 2 is get them to tell you they can't get there on their own. And this is absolutely critical to creating desire. Because what ends up happens is a lot of people, if they don't do all of these, if they don't do all these, and I call it the information age trap, is they're going to, even if you create desire and they tell you I can't do it on my own, or I can do it on my own, if they don't say that, you're going to lose their attention. And here's what happens when you lose their attention. They go out and they go, oh, this sounds great. I'll go try it on my own. They don't do it right. And then they go, hey, this process won't work. I need to find another process. And then they go on to your competitors. So if you don't do those first 2 steps right, it's just never going to happen. And we have a saying that you'll never make a sale unless someone admits that they can't do it on their own, or they say they want help to get there faster. That's it. And so with steps 1 and 2 in the authority listening and asking a few great questions, you've created a grease slide. And they want to stay in action to buy. though once they see the gap and they've seen the gap, their mind will go searching for a solution. And this is really that creative tension that builds and builds and builds up. This is like this fun, and it's like this desire to find the answer, and it's this open loop that really makes a difference in the sales process. And then you recognize the only way they're going to close it is by buying. Now, so what happens is you've clarified what it is. Now there's this gap. Okay, so you want an example. Look no further than the political environment right now is what's happening is, you see it day in, day out today, is there's this curiosity, what's going to happen? We run both sides, and you see that is creating this desire to find the end action. So we keep coming back over and over and over again. And I can tell you from experience, this is where success comes from in sales. And you think about the confidence and clarity that you're happening when you're going to get people to buy for their own reasons. So instead of wrestling objections and trying to convince people, you're simply helping them get what they want. So now you've demonstrated the gap, and you've got them to admit they can't do it on their own. We're into the last step, which is the call to action. So, and really the call to action, it's just simple and straightforward. And so here's the thing, is your income is in direct proportion to the number of call to action that you make. Now, the key to the call to action and having a process is where you can make multiple calls to action. And so something I want, otherwise you're just fighting human behavior. And something I want you to think about is we are pre-programmed to say no to people helping us. Think about this. You go into the store and somebody asks you, do you need help? And your immediate reaction is, no, I'm just looking. Well, maybe if you see a pretty girl, you might ask, there's that guy that will do that and like go, hey, yes, please help me. Well, that kind of creepy thing. Though in general, we are pre-programmed to say no. This happens all the time. You just say, hey, I'm just looking. So the truth is, you're actually looking for something. You're just putting off asking for help until you can find it on your own. And if you just see the pattern here, this is like you're going to actually go see if you can find it on your own, then you might ask for help. So one of the keys to the calls to action is to stay away from this now or never mentality. Because if you get into this now or never, you'll really get in trouble. So it's a balance that we have to master. So what are the elements of an effective call to action? Well, you need two elements. Clarity on what the future will look like if they buy the product. And also, so if, for us, one of our clarity things is we provide future and travel and go out and really live your life. And, the other part is, if they don't buy, you need to create a vivid future of what their life is like without it. And then you got to let them make their own decision. You got to make each one clear and let them make their own decision. And yes, it is that simple. It is that simple. So when we really talk about this, here's the bottom line. You master the 4 phases of the sales process, and you'll never have to worry about money again. You'll have a system to create which one of the 4 freedoms that you choose. And freedom to be with your family, freedom to take off and enjoy, freedom to do whatever it is that is really important to you. And just walking you through it is this simple. It is this simple to gain freedom and create predictable sales process. You got to attract the lead, qualify and clarify, create desire in the sales process, and then having a very effective call to action. And there's a little bit. Do you sell a vitamin, a painkiller? That that can vary the follow up a little bit. Though this is just so key in the process. So right now you're probably saying to yourself, hey, Brian, I know these 4 things. But who do you need to become to create freedom in your business is my question. And so here's some questions we need to be asking ourselves right now is how can I simplify the sales process to be repeatable? Because if it's not very simple, it's not going to be repeatable. How do I position my business to stand out in this Me Too economy where everybody can rip everybody off incredibly quickly? And how do I create clarity in my prospects' minds so they know I'm the expert? And how do I do this very, very quickly? How do I create leverage to get my message out in a bigger way? How do I get people to actually take action instead of just think about it? Who do I want my business to be known to my clients? How do I want my business to be known to my clients? Who are the ideal customers I want to build my business around? And how do I build my business and also enjoy a great lifestyle? So, I want to help you answer all of these questions by giving you a free consultation. And though, here's a couple things is, I told you that I would help you learn how to create freedom. So, and really, really focus on this. Though, one of the big things is, first of all, there's nothing you can buy right now on the webinar today. If you are interested, I would need to, personally talk to you, or someone on our team personally talk to you. It's really just 8 weeks of process and content. So if you're interested, you can apply. Though if you still wonder if it's right for you, stay with me because I'm going to really go over some really cool stuff. And here are 3 principles that are fundamental for fundamental mastering to break $1 million. So principle 1 is understanding that the human mind is attracted to clarity. And so one of the biggest things that we struggle with in our mind is we don't have clarity. And so if you want to make people buy because they have clarity, not because you have the best product or service, not because you have the best sales message all the time, it's do you have clarity? Is it simple for somebody to understand, and they get it really, really easily? And so right now you probably see a bunch of competitors out there whose product isn't very good, yet they're making a killing. Why? They've created clarity for their prospects. And this is a huge reason why our 4-phase process outperforms anything else. There's clarity on exactly what to do. So principle 2, every business is only 1 or 2 vital behaviors away from success. And this is just a law of business. And so most people go out and they try to learn a new process and they get overwhelmed in new information. They try it, though they don't get the result. And I've seen this. Hundreds of people turn their businesses around when they figured out the 1 or 2 vital behaviors required for performance. And again, this goes to simplicity and discovering these vital actions. And honestly, everything else is just noise. And principle 3 is commit to the person who deserves the result. And so this is so vital because in most cases, the information is easy to, yet altering the mindset and mastering the skill set is key. Though doing that is you really have to know that you deserve it and work through that process. Because there's just a lot of people out there. There's just a lot of people out there failing. And it doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be like everybody else. You don't have to be like everyone else. And if you've watched this far, I know that you're interested in really going out and accomplishing your dreams and figuring out how to have money freedom and figuring out how to take that dream vacation and how to control your finances, and also to have time with your kids and really, really know that you have what it takes and you can live life on your own terms and really live with the peace and understanding to move your life forward. And so what I want to share with you a little bit is our BD Growth Predictable Client Acquisition System. And so what the BD Growth Predictable Client Acquisition System is 8 weeks of our Predictable Client Acquisition course. And this is the same framework we use with clients paying us $100,000 plus a year to get results. And also you get 12 weeks of live implementation coaching and 6 one-on-one calls. And here's the process broken down. So week 1, it's all about unlocking your customer brain, and you'll learn how to pinpoint exactly what your prospect wants and why he wants it. Or it could be she. Though when you get, you can unlock it and kind of open up the brain, you see, hey, this is why people are going to buy. And week 2 is validating with authority research. And this is a little known art to stand out, even if you're in an extremely crowded market. And you're also going to learn how to pick the best funnel for your market, because this is really important. Most people don't pick the right funnel. And the good news is your market definitely isn't doing this. And so week 3 is all about clarifying, qualifying, and this is how you get the prospect excited so you can help them without being salesy. And this is really, there's a couple different ways. There's the 5 questions. We always design it exactly around your funnel. So week 4, desire, having the prospect tell you they need your help and they can't do it on your own. That is an absolute game changer. So week 5 is all about this call, the call to action and master closing the sale and getting paid. And you learn our framework, so you're not guessing on why people buy anymore, and you're not guessing. You have a really predictable process. Week 6 is all about media implementation to take your message to different media sources to create predictability and scalability. You're going to want a couple media messages to really create this on demand, because things break. Facebook ads get shut down, things happen, platforms, and we just never want you to hit a bump in the road on the update. So week 7 is all about managing metrics and optimization and developing your process to start gaining freedom in your business, that freedom that we're really in business for. And then week 8 is the advanced marketing framework. Part 1 is and it's really just figuring out how to protect your business. So this is all of the framework. And in addition to the 8 weeks of training, you also have 12 weeks of group support, 2 group calls a week to implement the process. And you also have, you're going to get feedback around the clock. You can email or post in the group. And you're going to be able to get help from me and dozens of experts and other business owners who are in the trenches getting results each day. And if you decide to reach out and you say this sounds like the course is a good fit for you, you're going to get a couple bonuses just for taking action today. And reaching out is one, you're going to get access to our Vital Behavior course, which is a 5-week course that will help you simplify and clarify any change you're making in your life and business. And really this covers the mindsets and skill set to get results. And the teacher of this course currently consults with over a dozen businesses in the $5 to $1.5 billion range. So if you decide to join, you'll also get access to this Vital Behavior course. And when you reach out and you schedule your call, and if it isn't perfect, totally fine. We're going to help you on the call move forward no matter what. And so bonus 2 is you're going to get access to our Sales Mastery course, which is 12 weeks of elite sales training. And so, today it's in July, the first 6 months of the year, we charge $6,000 for this course. You're going to get bonus access to this as well. So if this sounds great for you, if you're interested, all you need to do right now is go to www.bdgrowthpartners.com/apply and fill out your application, or you can click on the link below. So, and with the bonuses, those are just available for people that are taking action on the webinar, that reach out and schedule. We just wanted to add those because really what we're looking for is people that are committed, and we want to bring our best and reward people who are like, all right, I'm ready to go. I want this simplicity. I want this result in my life and business. And I'm going to do whatever it takes to get the results. And, we just keep things that simple. And so with that, if you're on the fence, you're like, hey, maybe this sounds really, really good. I would love to, I would love to know more. We'll apply. Ask the questions in the ask the questions in the application. And if it's not a great fit, we'll tell you. If we don't think we can absolutely help you knock it out of the park and get results in 90 days or less, we're going to tell you, because the key to this process is working with ideal clients that you can help and that you're passionate about. And if you're not doing that, it's just never going to work. So, if you apply, what if you apply and we're able to help you sign one high value client a month? Would it be worth it? Would it be worth it if you applied and you either joined or you didn't know, and you learned how to do that? That happens all the time. We have people saying, hey, great, this was so helpful. And if you completely understood what it takes to acquire clients, or you got clarity on where you were stuck, and that's always my question is, what is lack of clarity costing you right now? Forget like getting the result. What is lack of clarity costing you right now? So if this sounds like a good fit, you're interested in our framework and joining, fill out the application. We're going to talk to you, make sure it's a great fit. And whether or not, I hope you enjoyed the presentation. If you have any questions, you're going to receive an email, send a reply, ask. This is how we view this. Same thing. We view this as a long-term relationship. We're always going to create value for you. Though I would love to help you, really build the business you desire. So take action. Let's make it happen. And we look forward to talking to you soon.